Good evening and welcome once again to Letchworth Cable Access. I'm Kyle Adamczak, and tonight we're honored to have as our guests the Wyoming County Dairy Princess, Lilly Crane, and we have her alternate, Sorrell Brown. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you so much.
When were you elected Dairy Queen? When were you crowned Dairy Princess,
I was officially crowned at the end of May this year. It was the last Saturday in May.
What did you have to do to get crowned?
So basically, we had to fill out the application, send in a photo for free pre-competition news, and then basically the competition was we had to have an interview with 3 of the judges. We had to be asked an impromptu question about the dairy industry, which was very situational. And then we also had to deliver a speech to the audience about a topic of our choosing. We were given 5. And then at the end, they totaled up our points based on each part. And overall, they took the best score.
And you got the best score.
Yes.
Sorrell, you were made alternate.
Mm-hmm.
What did you find most memorable about the competition?
I thought the best part was just to compete against other people that had the same interests as me.
How many girls were in the pageant this year?
5.
They were all Wyoming County. Now, Lilly, you live where?
I live in Pike, but my mailing address is Portageville.
And you go to Letchworth Central School?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
I am an upcoming senior this year.
And Sorrell, you live where?
Attica.
And what grade level are you?
I'm also going to be an upcoming senior.
Now, you're Dairy Princess, you're alternate. What are the duties of the Dairy Princess?
So basically the duties of the Dairy Princess is shared among my alternates as well as the ambassadors, who all do a tremendous amount of work. Believe me, it's definitely shared. So basically our job is, and they chose us for, who's going to represent the dairy industry the best. So we go around to places throughout Wyoming County that either invite us or we ask if we can join them. And we basically just spread the greatness of the dairy industry and how farmers are good stewards and how their products ultimately contribute to the economy in the United States.
And what's the duty of the alternate, Sorrell?
Well, basically, if there's anything that Lily can't do, I'm the next up to do that job. And then therefore it goes to the rest of the alternates. But we try and give, if we go to an event, we try and give, the opportunity to all of us. It doesn't usually just go to Lily unless they specifically just ask for Lily.
So, Lilly comes with alternates to events.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like best about doing the Dairy Princess?
So I really like it because personally I like being with people, talking to people, meeting new people. I just love the rush of all of that and educating others on the dairy industry. So really, that's my favorite part, is getting to meet all these new people and being presented with opportunities that I wouldn't have if I didn't run for Dairy Princess.
And what do you like best about it,
The
Sorrell?
same exact thing. I'm a very shy, introverted person, so it's been nice to actually talk to people and get out of my comfort zone a lot.
Yeah. Have you met a lot of people?
Yeah, well, for the most part so far, yeah. We haven't been doing it for that long, but for the amount that we've been doing it, we have met a lot of people.
It seems like every time I pick up the newspaper, there's an essay by you with recipes,
Yep,
and you've appeared somewhere pouring milk.
milk punch, it's our staple.
Milk punch, what is that?
So I guess Milk Punch has been in the Dairy Princess program for Wyoming County a long time. The first thing I heard once I won was, "Oh, you're gonna have to learn how to make Milk Punch now." So
And how do you make it?
so
Or is it a secret?
our recipe might be a secret because I actually did make it wrong the first time I made it, and I had to actually get their recipe. But their recipe is just milk, Sprite or 7-Up, sherbet ice cream.
How much do you have to make for an event?
One serving is typically just 1 pint of ice cream, 1 quart of whole milk, and a whole liter of Sprite or 7-Up. And that serves usually about 42 people.
Have you had any unusual experiences or encounters while serving as Dairy Princess?
Not, yeah, I actually have. So, one thing that really came as a shock to me was when we had to do the June baby this year, which every year the Dairy Princess has to go and present a basket of dairy products and just baby items to the first baby born in June, which is Dairy Month. And my experience with that wasn't like others. It was definitely more difficult due to COVID and the restrictions within the hospital. So that definitely was very anxiety filled, and the situation was not as good as I bet past years had been.
But you came through.
Yes, of course. Still delivered the
glad.
basket.
What are the requirements to be eligible to serve or to run for Dairy Princess? Sorrell, do you want to?
I mean, there really aren't any. I mean, if you want to run, you can go right ahead. Like, the only thing you need to do is have a sponsor if you don't have any relation to the dairy industry at all. So basically, anybody who wants to can do it.
So you have to have a sponsor if you're not connected with the dairy industry.
And the sponsor has to be connected to the dairy industry.
Did you have a sponsor, Lilly?
Yes, I did. So I was actually sponsored by Broughton Farms. I reached out to them 2 weeks before the pageant, and they were very kind about it, and they generously were like, oh yeah, of course, like, we'll do that for you. So it was very last minute, and they were awesome about that.
Did you expect to win?
No. I had a lot of people even tell me that I probably wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
So I was going into it very like, all right, this is going to be a great experience. Like, I'm just going to go get it done. And, yep.
Now, you've got 2 other contests or pageants to participate in coming up.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
So, Wyoming County Fair Queen, which is going to be, the crowning will be August 16th, but it starts August 14th. And I'm sure everyone is very familiar with that one. I mean, it's been around since forever. And then the other one would be State Dairy Princess, which will be 2022 of February. And that will be pretty much the same thing as we did in the past competition, but there's going to be probably 20 times as many girls. There's probably going to be about 75 girls at this one.
How are you going to prepare for the state pageant?
So I'd like to consider my talent already to be public speaking and talking with others. So personally, the only thing that I really think I need to prepare for is trying to figure out the other county dairy princesses and getting familiar with them and talking to them about the competition, just so I see familiar faces while I'm there and I'm not so insecure and not knowing what to do once I get there.
Do you have the opportunity to meet the other princesses?
So, yes, I do. Today I was actually at Allegheny County Fairgrounds, and they don't have a dairy princess, but I did meet with some of their ambassadors, and I just introduced myself. And actually one of the other dairy princesses, I believe Erie counties, came up to me at Warsaw Parade, and they introduced themselves to me as well, and she was very nice.
Well, that's good to hear. There's no rivalry between dairy
Nope.
princesses. How did you become interested in agriculture?
So it all really started in 7th grade. My older brother did FFA at Letchworth, so I wanted to be just like him, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go join FFA.
What appealed to you about it?
I guess really being involved with the animals. I used to absolutely love horses. I showed them for a small amount of time in fair, and once I started getting involved with FFA, and I started to learn more about their agriculture program and taking their classes and started doing like county and state competitions with them. Since then, it's really just skyrocketed to what I thought could happen through the program.
Sorrell, how did you become interested in agriculture?
Well, I was first involved with horses, just like Lily was, through 4-H, like from a very young age, because my grandma had horses that I showed. And then from that, I also, the dairy farm I work at now, I grew up like on that farm, hanging out all the time and stuff like that, so I've always really been interested in it. And then as I got older, I started working there, like actually working there, and I like it a lot. So
What do you do at the farm?
So I feed calves we feed our calves at 7 o'clock at night, and it takes about an hour. and then at 8 o'clock we milk the cows. So like the night shift usually goes from like 8 to say like 11:30 usually.
How many cows are there at that farm?
I think about 200 or so.
My goodness.
Pretty sure. Don't count me on that though.
Yeah. Do you still show horses?
And I do not. I mean, I could if I wanted to,
Do you
but
ride?
I have a friend that has horses, so I could like go to her house if I want to, but not regularly.
You don't regularly ride.
Mm-mm.
Do you still ride?
No, so the horse that I actually used to show passed away and broken relations with the girl that I rode horses through, so that really ultimately stopped me from showing horses.
Yeah. If you're just tuning in, our guests are the Wyoming County Dairy Princess Lilly Crane and her alternate Sorrell Brown. We're pleased to have you here tonight. Were you involved with the Dairy Princess program at all as an ambassador or helper previous to
Not
this?
as an ambassador. As I was younger, I had a cousin that was a dairy princess, so I helped her out like when I could. So I always like looked up to the dairy princesses when I was younger.
Who was your
Always wanted to be
cousin?
one. Her name's Cassie Johnson.
And she served as Dairy Princess.
Mhm.
Did you have any connection with it at all prior to this?
I did have a family member who was a dairy princess a long time ago. Lorelei was her name. But besides that, I really just saw other girls that were alternates around my age growing up, but I really never thought twice about it. I was just like, oh yeah, that's cool, whatever.
Cool, dairy princess, milk.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to learn a little bit about your personal interests. Tell us about your parents.
So my mom, who's Hillary Crane, she works at Five Star Bank, and I believe she is the fraud manager for all 5-star banks around here, and of course not around here as well. So she deals with fraud. And then my dad, he is a carpenter. His name is Ken Crane. He's like a master carpenter, so basically he runs the job sites and all that. So he's not just a regular carpenter.
Yeah.
And I have an older brother, Nate Crane, who is 21, and I have a younger sister, Harley Crane, who is 11.
And what about your parents?
My mom works at the Attica schools, and she's a lunch lady there, so that's
Yeah.
fun. She likes working with children. And my dad is a correctional officer at Attica.
At
So-
the prison.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I also have an older sister named Emily, and she works with my uncle, who's a masonryist. I don't know what you call
mason?
it.
A stonemason?
Yeah. hmm
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
So I originally grew up in Bliss on Route 39. In middle, I've always been in the middle of nowhere, I guess. So
Where do you live now?
I currently live in Pike on East Coy Road, and we live back in the woods a little bit. We own a good chunk of land.
So you live out in the country.
Yes.
How would you describe East Coy Road to somebody out in California who never heard of it?
Something like they've never seen. Basically, the houses, you do not have close neighbors unless you're down towards the Portageville area.
Yeah.
But on my road, our closest neighbors, nobody can hear us. We're literally in the woods. We're surrounded by woods.
Yeah. Now, do you live in town or
I
in the
live
country?
in the country part of Attica.
Yeah. On a farm? No.
Well, it's like the farm area. The farm that I work at is like a 5-minute walk
Nearby.
from my house.
Yeah. You went to Attica School for a while. What's Attica Central School like?
It has a lot of different, like, people, I guess you could say. Like, it's very diverse in
Yeah.
who you could be friends with and stuff like that. So I think that's a good thing for Attica, is, like, you can hang out with anyone you want and not, like, be judged for it and stuff.
So now you're homeschooled. Do you work harder at homeschool or than you did when you were in public school?
I mean, I guess personally I have to work harder because I'm taking college classes as a high schooler, which is gonna be harder. So, like, I have to work harder, but
The college classes you're taking, where are they through?
GCC.
How many have you taken so far?
That's a great question. I think probably, like, I've been involved in, like, 3 semesters so far, I think. And I've done, like, 2 each time. I've probably taken, like, 5 or 6 classes so far.
Now, these are credits you can apply towards your college degree once
Yeah.
you get out of high school?
That's the great thing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that at Letchworth too.
Yeah.
Letchworth, what's Letchworth like as a school?
I've had very mixed feelings about Letchworth growing up, but definitely I do love all the people there. All the staff is definitely so friendly, especially coaches as well. They truly act like your family when you're playing sports for them. Letchworth does have a lot to offer. Just like Sorrell said, GCC classes. Like I've taken 4 or 5 this year through GCC for Letchworth, so they have a lot to offer for their students. More than a lot of schools do.
You mentioned sports. Have you participated in any?
Yes, so I'm a 4-year varsity soccer player for Letchworth. I did cheerleading for 1 year, but I played basketball previous to that for 4 years. And then for track, I have been on the varsity track team since 7th grade.
What do you do on the track team? What do you participate in?
I pole vault and I throw discus and shot put.
Impressive. And do you have any athletic pursuits?
I like to play tennis, and I did swimming in middle school, but I wasn't very good at it, so.
Well, you didn't drown.
No, I didn't.
You survived.
That's a good thing to think about.
What are your future plans? You have these college credits, both of you. What do you plan to pursue your education after high school?
So, personally, I plan to get my EMT certification through my town's fire department. And then my goal is to attend RIT for a pre-med in diagnostic medical sonography.
Are you involved with the Pike Rescue Squad?
Yes, so I'm a junior firefighter, but as of recently, I also like to help the ladies' auxiliary in going to fires and passing out water bottles and cleaning up after them.
That's impressive. It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. How many are in the junior fire program in Pike?
We actually have quite a few. We steal kids from other towns. So we've got about, I believe, 9 to 12 kids. A lot of them are in and out, They don't go to all of our meetings and such, so they're not really too involved. But we do have a lot of kids that really dedicate a lot of their time to helping out there.
So do you show up at fire sites?
Yeah, I've showed up at a couple, but a lot of the time we don't get invited to them if they're too dangerous, just because we're still junior firefighters.
Yeah. What do you plan to pursue your education after high school?
I think so. I honestly don't really know what I want to do because there's so much stuff out there, and I don't know about not even a quarter of it that's out there.
What are your interests?
Well, I like sustainability. That's an interest of mine, and dairy. So I think I'm going to look into becoming a milk inspector to start out with and see if that's something I would want to do.
Sustainability, what does that mean?
Like save the turtles and like garbage and stuff like that, and like limiting your resources and everything like that, and how much you consume.
Yeah. Do you plan to both? Are you going to GCC?
No, I plan to
You're going to RIT, you said.
Yeah, RIT.
Plan to. Hope to.
Yeah.
What about you? Where do you plan
I
to go?
don't know. I haven't looked into it enough yet.
Haven't gotten that far along
Yeah.
yet. What are your favorite subjects in school, Lily?
So personally, I enjoy chemistry, but besides chemistry, I also like to be involved in all the ag classes I can. This year,
Agriculture classes?
Yep, so this year I took Ag Academy, which is basically a longer agriculture class where we're involved in more things out in our school barn. And I also took Vet Science this year.
At Letchworth?
Yes.
Who are the teachers?
Kelly Wilcox and Forrest Hess, and they are ultimately probably the best agriculture teachers that you can have.
And what are your favorite subjects, Sorrell?
So I'm not very good at math, but apart from that, I like the ag classes. Like in GCC, I took a food processing class, which was pretty interesting. So I got to see like how food's packaged and stuff like that, and like how it goes from farm to table, basically.
What did you learn that you didn't know before?
Like there's a lot of different systems that go into packaging your food, and I couldn't even like think of that many right now either, because there's that many.
It was eye-opening.
Yeah.
Do you have FFA at your school, Future Farmers of America?
Yeah, so we've had the FFA program at our school for a
Yeah.
long time.
I guess you spoke about that. Do you have it at Attica?
Yes, we do. It recently just started back up again, like a couple years ago. So it's still like fairly new. They had it in the past, but then they took it away for some reason, so it like just started back up again.
Lack of interest, maybe?
I probably.
Yeah. What about 4-H? Have either one of you participated in that?
Yeah, I used to be involved in 4-H for a few years through Amy Hoopman and Pike, and my little sister is still involved in 4-H currently through Annette Anderson and Pike. So it's definitely been a part of our lives.
Are you still involved with it?
No, I do a lot definitely through intercurriculars at school and extracurriculars, so I really can't find time
Yeah.
to be as involved. But definitely, if they ever need help with anything, I would be the one to volunteer.
Have you been involved with 4-H?
Yeah, I started with horses, and then as I grew more interested in the dairy industry, I recently, 2 years ago, transitioned into showing dairy cows instead.
Yeah. What's the trick to showing a cow?
Well, I'm still really new at it since I only started like last year. So I don't really know what to say about that.
Well, what do
honestly.
you do? You have to give it a bath?
Yeah. Well, you start off by like you have to halter break your cow. That's the biggest part, so it takes a long time.
Does it?
Yes. Well, I guess it depends on the cow. You know, like it depends on like if you're a student, it's like different depending on who you are, how easy you are taught things.
Yeah. Have either one of you been involved in scouting?
Yeah.
What, Girl Scouts?
Yep, so I was in Girl Scouts through Karen Allmeter for probably, I'd say, about 3 years. Of course, I did also have to stop that. Because of COVID, we stopped really getting updates about it and such, so since then, I've not been a Girl Scout.
How far along did you get?
I can't exactly remember what my last, title was that I earned, so...
Did you sell a lot of cookies?
No, yes, of course, my family loves Girl Scout
Yeah.
cookies.
How about you? Were you a Girl Scout?
Yes, so my mom is actually a Girl Scout leader in Attica, so she leads the group that I'm in, and I've been in it since kindergarten, because that's as soon as you can start. And I'm not really that frequently involved in it right now, but I'm still technically in Girl Scouts right now.
They have ranks like Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
How high have you got?
It's, I'm pretty sure I'm like a senior or higher right now. I don't know what comes after a senior,
They're
but
so hard to remember.
exactly. There's so many of them.
There's so many, yeah. But you're still involved in scouting off and on.
Mm-hmm.
What are your favorite dairy dishes?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of your
So-
favorites?
My personal favorite is I absolutely love cottage cheese. And you can add some
yeah.
fresh fruit to it or anything that you really like, but I love cottage cheese. And a big cup of whole milk in the mornings, upstate milk. It's the best.
What's your favorite dairy product?
Cheese in general. There's so much different types of cheese. Like you can't go wrong.
Is
It's never
there-
ending.
Is there a particular cheese you like the
I
best?
really like smoked cheese a lot. It doesn't really matter what kind of smoked cheese, but smoked cheese.
Do you make your own cheese?
No. That would be something that would be fun to learn though.
Yeah. What are the top 3 things you'd like us to know about milk?
So I'll share one or two and then I'll have Sorrell share one as well.
All right.
So basically milk...
Number 1.
Number 1, milk has 9 essential nutrients, one of the most important being calcium, because it helps all ages, from little babies until you're super old and brittle, just because it ultimately helps with your teeth and your bones and development and deterioration. But
Number 2.
number 2 would be that milk, you need 3 servings a day. Well, not just milk, but any dairy products, you need 3 servings of dairy every day.
So milk, cheese, cottage cheese,
Ice cream,
ice cream.
and you can share
3 a
one.
day. And the third top
What was the
fact about
question
milk.
again? Oh yeah. Well, my favorite fact about milk is that it's delicious. I guess that's basically an opinion, but I like to think of it as a fact.
Do you like whole milk or skim or 2%
milk.
or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Chocolate milk is
chocolate-
your favorite?
A good fun fact is that chocolate milk is the perfect refueling beverage after you've worked out or did any physical activity and things like that. It's because it gives the nutrients back to your body.
Well, we're just about out of time. What would you recommend to a girl watching this program might be interested in running for Dairy Princess? What would you recommend they do?
I would say just do it. If you're interested in it, go ahead and do it. It opens so many opportunities for you everywhere. You meet so many new people and you experience things you would have never experienced if you didn't take the opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips or pointers
I
or
would tell
advice?
them to take a step out of their comfort zone and do something that you've never done before because it is actually going to be very helpful in the long run.
Do you have any future plans as far as Dairy Princess events you're going to be appearing at?
Yeah, so I believe actually next weekend we will be at the Bliss Library for Princess Day there. And that's basically we get to dress up in our big dresses that we would wear to our pageant, and we get to talk to the little girls about it, share some interesting dairy facts. We might be able to serve them some dairy products.
Well, that event will have happened by the time we show this program, so I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. What about through the year?
So another thing that we have looking forward to would be, of course, the fair. We're going to be selling clothes there, and we'll have our little booth set up like every year. And we will also be at Camp Good Days.
Yeah.
Camp Good Days, August 4th. And we'll be making ice cream with kids.
Is there anybody you'd like to thank that's helped you?
Definitely I'd like to thank Joanne Schreiber, who really was there to answer all of my questions when trying to run for Dairy Princess. I'd also like to thank Broughton Farms for ultimately sponsoring me last minute and just letting me write their name on my paper. And I'd like to also thank my mom and dad and my grandma because, of course, they ultimately provide me with transportation if it's not gas money and pushing me to do things like this.
Sorrell, do you have anybody you'd like to thank?
I would first like to thank Stephanie Luders because she has helped me with everything that I need to know about the dairy pageant thing because I had no idea anything about it. So I would like to thank Stephanie the most, and then I would like to thank my mom for helping me prepare for it, and then I would like to thank the Rogers family for getting me interested in the dairy industry.
Well, our guests tonight were the Wyoming County Dairy Princess Lilly Crane and the Wyoming County Dairy Princess alternate Sorrell Brown. We were honored to have you here as our guests.
Thank you so much.
We hope you have a successful year and good luck at the state pageant.
Thank you so much.
I'm Kyle Adamzak. This is Letchworth Cable Access. Thank you for watching. Good night.